Alright, bitches. This is your last day here in Nagoya. What do you want to say before we're outies?
It was awesome! I loved it! I'll come back for a vacation thing. I don't know about living, but I'll come back.
Hannah?
Well, at least you're realistic.
Alright, Saori.
For that part.
So this is Saori. If you guys watch my videos at all, you've probably seen her once or twice, and if you spent any time as an exchange student at Oberdin, you probably know her as one of the coolest people ever in all existence, period. So last week, Brian, Ryan, and I went with Saori to Nagoya. Nagoya is one of Japan's largest cities, situated roughly 150 miles southwest of Tokyo, and any way you want to get there is at least kind of expensive and sort of long, so originally I wasn't planning to go. But as soon as I learned that, if I went, I would get the opportunity to spend 3 some odd days with this fabulous woman's family, well, you had me at hello. We left in the morning from Yokohama and got to Nagoya Station around 3 p.m. and then we had to wait for about 5 hours for Saori's mom to come and pick us up because the trains to her local station were no longer running. It's always kind of amazing to me just how good college students are at wasting time. Like when I was 5, 30 minutes seemed like an eternity to me, but there we were, in Nagoya Station, for 5 hours, and we did stuff. Like buy omiyage, which we'd forgotten to buy in Tokyo.
We are waiting for Brian to buy his omiyage. It is especially fun to talk on camera in English when you are in a non-English speaking country and everyone thinks you're crazy already.
English!
And then we stopped in a cafe for about an hour or so and Ryan made a pastry that looked like this. And he named it. And then he remembered it was pastry, so he tried to put it out of its misery, but, well...
Oh my god, that's so sad.
I need another picture.
You ever seen the Phantom of the Opera?
So depressing.
Then we went across the street into a Yodobashi camera, and I played a demo of Gravity Days on the PS Vita, and Ryan checked out a demo reel for Skyward Sword, and I got a free Rayquaza, and we found this little gem.
That is, I don't even think that's the right word. Assassin's Creed Liberation. That's not, what is that?
And then we went and loitered for a while in an arcade full of games for sale and used in Japan only, and then we met Saori's mother, and she drove us to the house, and then we went out to a Brazilian restaurant to eat. After dinner, we went to Seiyu for, well, I guess I'll let Ryan tell you.
Grocery shopping for breakfast tomorrow. I'm done.
We wandered around the store, laughing and joking and awkwardly getting to know one another the way you awkwardly get to know your friends' families, and then we went back to Saori's house. This is what it looks like in daylight, this is most of the rooms, this is Cat 1, whose name is Gumi, and this is Cat 2, named Gigi, after this Gigi, who was madly in love with Brian. Blah blah blah, the allotted time for sleeping. The next morning we got up and, okay, Brian, make your joke about how Ryan and I shared a futon.
You too, man. Gotta remember that. Keep it for the record.
I'm going to hurt you. A lot.
Yeah, did I mention he punched Gigi in the face once? Yeah. That Gigi. Brian, Ryan, and I have other Japanese friends currently attending college in Nagoya, and so we set out on day 2 with plans to meet up with them and pay a visit to Nagoya Castle. We left from this tiny station that we didn't even realize was a station until Saori informed us thereof, and we went back to Nagoya Station where we met up with Akane and Nane, seeing here looking very happy to see us. This is where we ate lunch, this is where we went afterwards, and this is a shot of Ryan making Nane laugh so hard that she nearly falls over. Oh god, that's so cute. We then spent most of the day walking around the Nagoya Castle grounds. Nagoya Castle was built in the 1500s, and during the reign of the Tokugawa shogunate, it served at the center of one of the most important castle towns of the day. It's even supposedly the birthplace of Nobunaga Oda, who, if you know nothing about Japanese history, was a pretty incredible general and all-around kick-ass guy who ended up doing a lot of work to the benefit and credit of men other than himself. Nagoya Castle is a monument to and testament of history. It's a place where a lot of people lived, and also, sadly, where a lot of people died, and it's been reconstructed countless times, most recently after it was destroyed in World War II after a firebombing by the US Air Force in the 1940s. It was both odd and humbling to walk around that place, both as an American and as a young person. Nagoya-jo is the kind of place that serves to remind me how young I am. To understand history is to understand that on the grounds of Nagoya-jo, people had died. Perhaps in a time before my own country even existed, and they have died so long ago that anyone who remembered their faces or their names or beliefs is also gone, and that someday we will all face that truth. We will all be nameless and faceless, except for the cognizant reality that we came before. That will ultimately be everyone's legacy. There were people before I was a person, and there will be people after. That is a very heavy truth, and as I walked around Nagoya, I thought about it a lot. After we'd spent most of the day at Nagoya, we took some time to head over to NUFS, the Nagoya University of Foreign Studies, which is where Nanae and Akane attend school. And then we said goodbye to Nanae and got back on the train, went back to Saori's house, and had super delicious nabe, which is where you cook a pot of food on the dinner table, and long story short, it was amazing, and then more sleep. Day 3 was our last full day in Nagoya, so we decided to spend it at Higashiyama Zoo, which actually turns out to be one of the largest zoos in the entire Asian subcontinent. They had black swans and bored-looking rhinos and unhappy-looking elephants and kangaroos eating grass and baby kangaroos eating carrots. See, the thing is, at some point during most people's lives, zoos stop being fun and start being just kind of depressing. Somehow I always manage to forget this between zoo trips, maybe because I only go to zoos every 6 or 7 years now, but as I walked around Higashiyama Zoo, I could feel it setting in a little, with all the animals looking so unhappy and all the enclosures looking a lot of the time downright filthy and uninhabitable. I started wondering about myself as a child. When I was little, I loved the zoo. It always made me sad to see animals in cages, but at some point in my life I was able to suspend that unhappiness, because my pleasure simply in seeing those animals up close far outweighed it. Anyway, I was walking around thinking heavy thoughts about what it is to be human and what it is to be an adult, and then we came to the chimpanzee enclosure and something wonderful happened. The one friend left over to clean shit up after the fight's gone down.
Yeah.
So, you guys gonna come back and clean up all this shit? No? I'm gonna have to do it by myself? Okay. There's actually a lot more footage of that, but I think you get the idea. And for about 10 minutes we stood there watching the chimpanzees fight and scream at one another, and a crowd gathered, and we watched and we laughed, and the entire day seemed to pick up. We kept walking, and as we passed eagles and condors, I felt myself remembering strange, forgotten pieces of my childhood. It's strange to me how we as human beings are fundamentally comprised of the memories and moments that we have experienced prior to this one, but that at any given time we can probably recall less than 25% of those experiences. I was suddenly called back to strange, random moments, to times when I was much, much younger than I am right now, when this experience would have been entirely beyond my comprehension. Times, for example, when I knew all the words to this song. I was reminded of that, and I was reminded also that a time like that had existed for all of my friends, that these people with whom I am now sharing this experience were also once children. And as we wandered around the zoo laughing and riding dragons, I thought about how glad I am that even though I've outgrown that moment, and to an extent zoos, I'm very happy that I can remember them. And I've retained to some extent how happy I am to be in the world, and that nostalgia for me isn't bittersweet, but more of a pleasant surprise. And even when I'm nothing left than someone who came before, that will still have been true in this moment. As we woke up the next morning and prepared to leave, I found myself very happy about that, and that I have made choices that have led to this moment being what it is, and that I am spending it where I am spending it, and with the people that I am spending it with. And with a life like this, existing in a world both with heavy truths and with pleasantly surprising memories, it only makes sense to spend as much of it as we can with people like Saori.
Since in the old gum tree, Mary came.
Yep.
Laugh, kookaburra,